Hello, hello, and welcome to Technology Today, powered by ohmtown.com. Today is March 31st, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 6 of one of our latest shows. It's actually been around for 6 other weeks, but hey, well, this is the 6th week. I'm Merwat, and up there is the newest visualizer for the sentient AI. You want to say hi?
Good evening, Hometown citizens. Welcome to Technology Today.
Welcome to the show, AI. Thanks for dropping in. Today we're going to be talking about the indefensibility of solar, mimicking the human brain, turning CO into fuel, Arecibo gets a hearing aid, quantum dot security, a whale of a conversation, tardigrade protein slow aging, wearable AI, Cybercrime Software, and cosmic speed camera. I don't have an intro for Technology Today yet, but everything is powered by So I don't have transitions either. So we're gonna we'll be able to fast track this. I don't have to wait for transitions to kick in. It shortens the show, but I also don't have the ability to split it into segments like I intend to do and then post all of this over on TikTok, should it survive. But it's all posted over on YouTube anyway, and it's downloadable as a podcast wherever you catch pod. All of our shows are. In fact, for those who might be stumbling across this, we do a daily show called ohmTown Daily News Show. That's powered by ohmTown, and all of these shows are powered by ohmtown.com. We do a show called Reality Hacker, one that's called Wanted, Warcrafters. That was yesterday's show rundown, and then we do it all again on Sunday, ohmTown Daily News Show, then the Continuity Report, then this show, Technology Today, which goes a little bit deeper and has a higher threshold for the level of technology we discuss. And then after this show is Four Wheel Tech, which talks about tech and the automotive industry. Whew. I hope you dig the show. It is a lot of shows, but most of them are on the weekends for now. Coming up later this year is the Summer of Stream, where I'll be streaming a whole lot more games, primarily VR, base building, survival, crafting kind of games. We'll get into all of that as we approach the Summer of Stream. But for now, stick around. Hope you enjoy it. The very first article for today is over in the ohmTown Daily channel. It happens to be a channel as well as the show that we do every day. That's because ohmTown ohmTown Daily News Show is it's in the name. It's a daily show. It's on at 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday through Friday, and then 6 on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So this show, this article is titled "Thousands of Solar Panels in Texas Destroyed by a Hailstorm." What have I been saying in the show for 3 years?
It's not defensible. In fact, that's why this was submitted.
Thousands of solar panels in Texas destroyed by hailstorm. I have a beef with solar and wind, although I love the idea of it. I want it to succeed. I want wind in particular to be more efficient and effective. And I want everybody to basically have a vertical wind generator on the sides of their houses feeding into their home's power system, except for the fact that they tend to be noisy, they tend to be bulky, and your neighborhood doesn't really, your HOA does not
they don't
really
like the look of it, right?
Right. And I'm not talking about the giant ones with the 50-foot wingspan or 150-foot wingspan spinning around, arguably, supposedly clipping birds from time to time and whatever else, disrupting airflow, whatever, batshit crazy stuff somebody says. But anyway, there are smaller ones that are vertical. They're towers and they spin, but they generate power. They're not as efficient, but that comes with time. I think that wind generation is pretty much the go-to until we develop solar that can withstand something like a BB. If you break a solar panel, it kills the effectiveness of the entire grid. One solar panel down means that you're basically hobbled dramatically. But a solar farm in Fort Bend County has faced extensive damage after baseball-sized hail hit the region. The article's over at Newsweek.com. The video has nothing to do with it, so I'm just going to close that. But Alex Phillips is the author that put this article together. Aerial footage shows rows of cracked photovoltaic cells in the Fighting Jay solar farm near Needville in Fort Bend County. Local news channel KTRK reported on Saturday the baseball-sized hailstones were observed falling in the area overnight, per the Houston Chronicle. So, obviously, this comes from Twitter. Houston Chronicle reported on it. Newsweek is reporting on it. But all of this basically ruins it, right? So any strikes to it destroys its efficiency and efficacy. It really has to be replaced. It can't just be repaired.
Right. And a hailstorm is not a once in a lifetime event. I mean,
Right.
They could replace this and then there could be a hailstorm in a couple of months.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be baseball-sized hail either. Anything that is of sufficient velocity and mass. So a bird could smash into this thing for some reason, or something thrown can smash into it. It's basically, I don't know. The way I say it is, it's not a defensible power source. It isn't like oil. You can transport that. You can defend it against all manner of attack. Internal combustion engines, same thing. Nuclear power, same thing. But geothermal, wind, solar, all of that can be easily disrupted. Yes, I understand that you can disrupt all of it in some way, somewhere. But again, if it becomes apparent that you have to defend against it, you can't defend against Mother Nature. You can't defend against an earthquake.
Well, and the problem with something like solar, of course, is that you can't cover it up with anything, because if you cover it up, you're minimizing or eliminating the very power capture.
Yeah, exactly. So one resident, Nick Kaminsky, said that he was worried about the chemicals potentially leaking into the groundwater, which his house uses as its water supply. Residents expressed concerns that the damaged panels could leach chemicals into the surrounding environment. You're nuts. I have a family of two, a wife, blah, 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 blah. While solar panels can contain toxic substances such as cadmium telluride and copper indium gallium diselenide, in solar cells, they are found in solid form in a thin film that usually only become an environmental concern when disposing of them en masse, by the way. CIP spokesperson said the silicon-based panels contain no cadmium telluride, and we have identified no risk to the local community or the environment. And that's because somebody did a quick Google search that popped up some bullshit, and then they keyed in on that as self-serving to enable them to express their outrage. This isn't a little East Palestine train wreck. This is solid state solar panels that have been broken by nature. I guarantee you the people that are bitching about this are the same that have no compunction about coal-fired power plants increasing global warming.
Wyoming.
I
said Wyoming.
Is it Wyoming? Where was this? Texas? Yes. What? Texas?
No,
right?
Wyoming was the one that was like, we don't want any newfangled technology, essentially.
Yeah, I know, but it landed so close that it was like a baseball-sized hailstorm, landing in Wyoming. I wouldn't be surprised that there, in another universe, this article is about the entire state of Wyoming.
Right.
So, my point is that, look at this. The solar project, which began producing power for Texas's energy grid in 2022, generates 350 megawatts across 3,300 acres of land and is expected to power 62,000 homes, and people are bitching about solar panels when there's so much worse that's done by oil, coal, the history of oil and coal than anything solar. Yeah, you're all out of your mind. But hey, you know what? Different moral compass. Let's keep going though. I don't want to soapbox, and I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just showing you what your options are and expressing our anecdotal perspective about the technology. The next article is over in Technology Today. Next generation AI semiconductor devices mimic the human brain. I think the last article tells me where we can use it. The research team led
this
by
also
Professor...
tells me that that Hollywood maybe is getting it right.
Ouch.
From the continuity report.
Yeah, that's right. The research team led by Professor Kwon Hyuk Jun of the DGIST Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science has developed a next-generation AI semiconductor technology that mimics the human brain's efficiency in AI and neuromorphic systems. So the article, again, is by DGIST. Daegu Gyeongbuk Institute of Science and Technology. I tried. So the advancements of AI has stimulated a rapidly growing demand for energy-efficient semiconductor technology with a fast operational speed. However, traditional computing devices with their von Neumann architecture and separate computing and memory units have speed and energy efficiency shortcomings associated with data processing bottlenecks, essentially. That's exactly what this is going to be eliminating. I can count on it based on just that paragraph. Consequently, research on neuromorphic devices that mimic biological neurons' simultaneous computing and memory functions is gaining attention. While our brains have simultaneous computing and memory functions, we do not express that in terms of multitasking capability. We cannot do more than one thing at a time, and it's typically where our eyes are looking. And if you want to experiment with it, find a parking lot that's open, free of any cars or obstructions, drive in a straight line down the parking lot, and look to your left or right for more than 30 seconds, and you'll notice that your car starts drifting in one direction or the other, either in the direction your eyes are looking, or because you're cognizant of the fact that you do that, you overcompensate and end up in a ditch on the other side of the road.
Well, that's not good. I was thinking of the VR example where you're trying to select something, but your eyes go in a different direction.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever we look, that is our purpose. That it's a purely survival trait. It's all instinct that our vision focuses our entire thought processes. So against the backdrop, Professor Hyuk Jun Kwon's team developed a synaptic field effect transistors using hafnium oxide, which has strong electrical properties and thin layers of tin disulfide. This resulted in a 3-terminal neuromorphic device capable of storing multiple levels of data in a manner similar to neurons. So think of it a 3-dimensional structure, being able to store it in multiple ways. The research successfully replicated biological characteristics such as short and long-term properties, yielding a highly efficient device that responds 10,000 times faster than human synapses and consumes very little energy. It has nothing beyond this listed, and I won't be able to decipher this. I'd have to go and read that paper to glean a little more from it. But they say, quote, "The research marks an important step towards next generation computing architecture, which requires low power consumption and high speed computation. We have developed high performance neuromorphic hardware using 2-dimensional channels and ferroelectric hafnium oxide, and the innovation is expected to have various AI and machine learning related applications in the future." This right here invalidates the continuity report article about how storage and power and computational capabilities are limited. And
exactly.
all that it took was an hour of that show going away and us starting to talk about this higher end technology. That's sure it's in a lab, but it goes from lab fundamental research to practical retail sales, sometimes in short order. 10,000 times faster than human synapses and consumes very little energy.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. We're applying human limitations to it, except it's exceeding human limitations.
Yep. And our capability to innovate is only limited by our own capabilities. And so as we step on the shoulders of giants, we end up being able to reach higher. We innovate, we expand our reach. We innovate again, we expand our reach. And so for time immemorial, we are going to continue to stand on the shoulders of giants. This, if it makes economic sense, this could be the very thing that leads to such computational power that sentient AI is tomorrow. You know, obviously not, but in the grand scheme of things. And by the way, yes, it is not beyond me that I have been saying that I think sentient AI is going to be announced, but I think what's going to be announced tomorrow, which is quite interesting. I said it was going to be the end of this quarter.
First quarter.
I think this week it's going to be announced that they have a very nascent, seemingly near sentient AI, because it can't be full blown. I mean, to have a fully functional sentient AI, I think it would be,
people can't deal with that.
Correct. Yeah.
Like it's too much, right? They need to do, as you would say, like incremental.
Yeah, got to release it.
Drip of technology.
Yeah, and we talked about this briefly. I think it was maybe yesterday or the day before, that it's going to be such a culture shock to have a computer that, for all intents, is a living being, and all the rights that would come from that existence. There would be people from around the world demanding that this thing have representation in some way. In a whole new field of law, in sociology and psychology, would instantly pop into existence to defend sentience in technological forms. And if you're looking for your next NaNoWriMo topic, there you go. Okay. The next article,
by the way, you can collect quite a few of those if you listen regularly to our shows.
So true. Yeah, all of our shows lead to some idea for a book or a movie or something. It's quite fun.
Some are labeled more explicitly than others.
That's true too. This next article is over in TechnologyToday. Research lights up process for turning CO2 into sustainable fuel. Researchers have successfully transformed CO2 into methanol by shining sunlight on single atoms of copper deposited on a light-activated material, a discovery that paves the way for creating new green fuels and pulling carbon dioxide out of the air. So University of Nottingham is where this is coming from. It's posted over at techexplore.com. Do you remember the movie Chain Reaction? Keanu Reeves?
With the Keanu Reeves, yes, but I can't think of a lot of the detail from it, but I know the movie you're talking about.
Where they develop cold fusion?
Mm-hmm.
This looks exactly like that. Except that in their experiment, it goes critical and blows up the facility. But it's basically a liquid that starts bubbling and it starts creating light. We're going to have to watch Chain Reaction. So an international team of researchers from the University of Nottingham School of Chemistry, University of Birmingham, University of Queensland, and the University of Ulm have designed a material made of copper anchored in nanocrystalline carbon nitride. The carbon atoms are nested within the nanocrystalline structure, which allows electrons to move from carbon nitride to CO2, an essential step in the production of methanol from CO2 under the influence of solar radiation. The research has been published in the Sustainable Energy and Fuels Journal. In photocatalysis, light is shown on a semiconductor material that excites electrons, enabling them to travel through the material to react with CO2 and water, leading to a variety of useful products, including methanol, which is a green fuel. Despite recent progress, the process suffers from a lack of efficiency and selectivity. So basically, who knows? I don't know what it says lack of efficiency, but I don't know if that's a positive or a negative.
Well, I think it's saying existing, right? That's not the way to go. So this project is probably trying to get beyond that.
Yeah, but if they say lack of efficiency, it implies inefficiency, but they didn't say inefficiency. They said lack of efficiency, which could mean that it's the other way.
I think it's just good that it could be, no, I think it just means that it could be improved.
Gotcha. Carbon dioxide is the greatest contributor to global warming. Although it's possible to convert CO2 to useful products, traditional thermal methods rely on hydrogen sourced from fossil fuels. It is important to develop alternative methods based on photo and electrocatalysis. Taking advantage of the sustainable solar energy and abundance of omnipresent water, which that's an assumption.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so this is pretty
interesting. Stay tuned for any of our other articles about water.
So I'm going to play the video, but I guess it's making methanol right now, and light is just being shown on it so that it creates this methanol, which I think is amazing, right? If that's all it takes. But the efficiency, who cares? Get it going now so it starts doing it, and then work on the efficiency of it, because
exactly.
I don't think
like efficiency is not your first thing to work for.
The researchers devised a process of heating carbon nitride to the required degree of crystallinity, maximizing the functional properties of this material for photocatalysis. Using magnetron sputtering, they deposited atomic copper in a solventless process, allowing intimate contact between the semiconductor and metal atoms. If this is catalysis, then it shouldn't degrade. Like an anode or cathode, it shouldn't degrade. So once they spend the money on this, it's like a sunk cost. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'll have to look around. But they said carbon dioxide valorization holds the key to achieving the net zero ambition of the UK. It is vitally important to ensure the sustainability of our catalyst materials for this important reaction. A big advantage of the new catalyst is that it consists of sustainable elements, carbon, nitrogen, copper, all highly abundant on our planet. Right? Let me verify something real quick. Right?
Yeah, so I guess those other catalysts that they've been using are breaking down into other elements.
See, but it says catalysts participate in a chemical reaction and increase its rate. They do not appear in the reaction's net equation and are not consumed during the reaction. So this shouldn't consume
right. Yeah,
this
that
process.
Doesn't make sense.
But maybe I'm looking at it at a different angle, not just as a catalyst, but the other elements are actually being broken down through the process, but the catalyst is not, which is a shame because
where the original catalysts were being broken down and these are not, or something.
Yeah, because if this were to be that they can do all of this and the catalyst is the most expensive thing, you don't lose the catalyst. But if the catalyst is the cheapest part of it and the other elements are the brunt of the cost and they break down, then it becomes
right.
economically unsound to do this. But anything that consumes CO2 and converts it into methanol, and what else? There has to be a byproduct of this other than methanol. I don't think it can convert.
Exactly. Well, and
Yeah.
so then it's like, is it fixing one problem but causing another? I mean,
Yeah.
have they looked at that?
Some bad bat on the other side. Okay, well, let's keep on going. This next article is talking about Arecibo, which we talked about it earlier this week. But what's interesting about this is we thought that Arecibo was basically shut down. But Arecibo Observatory telescope outfitted with a wideband cryogenic system to expand its capabilities. So the main Arecibo dish is offline. It was destroyed because the pylon snapped because too much over-engineering, or I should say, overwhelming of the engineering.
Right, maybe under engineering.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that it was designed at like 100% of its capacity, whereas those with a bigger budget would have exceeded the engineering spec, reinforcing those pylons to 300%.
Right.
Oh, they blew past the recommended weight. Anyway, so the main dish kind of was destroyed and then constructed within a natural sinkhole in Puerto Rico. The 305-meter wide Arecibo telescope played a part in numerous discoveries, including the first detection of an exoplanet, but it actually collapsed in 2020. It seems like it's forever ago and not 2020.
Yes, it does.
Sarah Stanley over
but
at
that
American...
was from the before times.
Yes, the before times. Barely, I mean,
or
2019.
It was at the beginning of the before times. Or yeah.
I volunteer as tribute. So American Geophysical Union, Sarah Stanley is the author. It's posted at phys.org. So in a nutshell, the researchers have outfitted the 12-meter telescope that's inside that same space with a new receiver that operates at a wider bandwidth and is cooled to 15 degrees Kelvin or negative 432 degrees Fahrenheit, basically eliminating any excitation so that you can get better readings. The 12-meter telescope originally operated at a relatively narrow bandwidth of radio frequencies, limiting its application. But because of this expansion, it now has the ability to detect local, far distant, and medium distant bodies, giving it a more holistic use. I really
It'd be
hope...
interesting to compare it to the original telescope because it's more modern technology. It might even be more powerful than the original. But it's at least more powerful than the newest application or whatever.
Yeah, this is definitely superior now that it has this new technology bolted onto it. I think that's pretty cool. One of the things that, for me, at always being interested in Arecibo Observatory, it had a limit in where its angle of attack was. So it only could see like a few arc seconds. I don't remember the full range, but essentially it could only look so far in the sky because its main dish was just bolted to the floor. And so that little receiver that was at the apex of where the dome comes down, right? It's like a big bowl. All of the signal hits that dome, bounces up to the receiver. So depending on where it goes, it would only get so much of a signal in response. So it was quite fascinating to see how it worked. But this new dish has the ability to look in different ways, a wider range. But nowadays we're even going up into space with them. And now we're even considering setting up a train on the moon so that we can build a moon observatory.
Also a lighthouse on the moon.
And a lighthouse and a GPS system on the way to the moon so that nobody gets lost. So pretty cool. But let's keep on going. This next article is over in Technology Today as well. Quantum dots ignite a new era in global secure communication. University of Waterloo researchers combine Nobel Prize-winning concepts to achieve scientific breakthrough. Researchers have started working with quantum computing. So University of Waterloo posted this article over at scitechdaily.com. Let's see what they actually end up talking about. The combination of high degree of entanglement and high efficiency is needed for exciting applications such as quantum key distribution or quantum repeaters, which are envisioned to extend the distance of secure quantum communication to a global scale or link remote quantum computers, said Dr. Michael Reimer. I think it's Reimer. Professor at IQC and Waterloo's Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Previous experiments only measured either near perfect entanglement or high efficiency, but were the first to achieve both requirements with a quantum dot. So when you do one thing to one dot, it affects the other.
Okay.
And so quantum entanglement and secure communications means that if you have a series of these quantum dots, they can be the significant of like Morse code. I'm simplifying this quite a bit. So what you do is you manipulate the series of dots, and that becomes a calculus that is represented without anybody ever from on the other side of the planet. These quantum entangled dots, when you modify one, it modifies the other wherever it is. In space, on the planet, on the other side of the planet from the others. And there's nothing that detects it in between.
I mean, that's quite a breakthrough. It's very difficult to understand.
So it says, by embedding semiconductor quantum dots into a nanowire, the researchers created a source that creates near-perfect entangled photons 65 times more efficiently than previous work. This new source, developed in collaboration with the NRC of Canada, the National Research Council of Canada in Ottawa, can be excited with lasers to generate entangled pairs on command. The researchers then used high-resolution single-photon detectors provided by Single Quantum in the Netherlands to boost the degree of entanglement. So it says, to showcase future communication applications, Reimer and Penichetti worked with Dr. Norbert Lukenhaus and Dr. Thomas Genuine, both IQC faculty members and professors at Waterloo's Department of Physics and Astronomy, and their teams. Using their new quantum dot entanglement, researchers simulated a secure communication method known as quantum key distribution, proving that the quantum dot source holds significant promise in the future of secure communications. Basically, the quantum key distribution is modifying one set, the other one becomes identical.
And it can't be detected, you said.
And it cannot be detected because there isn't any communication direct. It is in the spooky quantum realm that even Einstein referred to as spooky at a distance.
I mean, Isn't this kind of akin to what you see in time travel stories?
Yeah. It's far into the future Star Trek. You know, I mean, this is the kind of stuff where if you want secrets, quantum technology is really what it's all about. So the article is oscillating photonic Bell state from a semiconductor quantum dot for quantum key distribution. It's in communication physics, and communication physics is where it's actually referenced. Yeah, it's going to be interesting as we keep on developing this quantum technology, because you build a better mousetrap and a better mouse shows up. Someone is doing research on how to detect the communication between quantum dots.
I have no doubt.
But I think the only
may
way
not be the same people.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, I'm curious about this now. Okay, the next article is over in the Marble channel, using suction cups inspired by fish to listen in on whale conversation. We're eavesdropping on. Oh wait, you know what I didn't do?
I mean, what can't we do at this point? Once we've got quantum dots and suction cups for whales.
Whoa, quantum dots and suction cups. That's going to be on my new nerd punk band. Band name. So, using suction cups inspired by fish to listen in on whale conversation. In their ambitious goal to understand and ultimately communicate with sperm whales, scientists from Project SETI, it's a different SETI, it's CETI, have enlisted the help of unlikely collaborators, clingfish. I dated somebody that was a clingfish. Leah Burrows. It says Harvard John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Science. I don't know. Okay, whatever. It was posted over at phys.org, though, and here's a picture of Alyssa Hernandez holding a tag that gets stuck onto a sperm whale so that they could listen to the recordings from that sperm whale.
But how does it stay on? As you pointed out, we talked about it a little bit in Hometown Daily.
Yeah. These can't be normal suction cups because it's like flexing and moving, and the drag of the water has to be significant. But I think that there's like some super glue or something. I don't know what that is. That has to be the acoustic speaker, the whatever, hydrophone, acoustic speaker. What do you think a speaker is? Anyway, it's
typically involves some acoustics.
Yeah, quantum speaker. So SETI, launched in 2020 by a team of interdisciplinary scientists, aims to listen to, contextualize, and translate the communication of sperm whales, the species with the largest brains on the planet. Key to that goal is the development of non-invasive soft devices that attach to the whales and record their vocalizations and other data. This effort is being led by Robert Wood, Harry Lewis, and Marlon McGrath, professor of engineering and applied sciences at the Harvard John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, or CES, and the robotics team lead at Project SETI, CETI. Since we just talked about Arecibo, can't sit there and say SETI without...
Right, yeah, you don't want to clarify that.
Different SETI. Whales are not alien, although they could be. As well as National Geographic Explorer. So this person is all over the place.
I mean, they do show up in a lot of sci-fi shows.
Wood and his team are working to develop tags that can attach and detach from whales without causing any damage to the skin, withstand speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, depths of up to 1,000 meters, and temperatures as low as a few degrees Celsius. Dear God. So this is a Pacific spiny lump sucker. I love this. The research was published in Bioinspiration and Biomimetics. So they took inspiration from suction cups of clingfish, lump suckers, snailfish, and river loaches, which I don't even want to know what a loach is.
I'm not sure I want to see a picture of one.
But I guess it sucks, it like gloms on and then goes and like a suction cup, but biological. When it feels like suction is breaking, it can suck a little harder. So the team tested each cup using a robotic arm named Armando. Inside a small water tank, Armando stuck the suction cup to different substrates with varying roughness and compliance, and then dragged them across the surface, mimicking a gentle version of the shear forces that a swimming and diving whale would generate. Oh, wow, they really did. Wow.
That's really unusual.
But it's taking into account what I was envisioning, right? That the problems would be. The team also tested cups with soft rims, mimicking sealing rims found in nature. The researchers found the cups with these soft sealing rims often adhered better to rough surfaces than cups without rims. So that's what they kind of created. You can actually see it. So it has this red line, and then there's a pink one underneath it. And so I think this is for rough, and this is to increase the suction overall so that it kind of sticks twice. Maybe? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. The team found that a wide ellipse with middling stiffness inspired by lumpsucker and snailfish discs, and the teardrop-shaped cup inspired by clingfish, performed the best on smoother surfaces under those shear conditions. And then they tested soft rims, etc. So, ta-da! I guess that's what they're doing. But I told the story of watching a video about pairs of and teams of whales working in unison to create a shock wave of water hitting ice floes so that it pulled seals off of these ice floes.
Oh, wow.
Now imagine putting one of these on all of those so that you could listen to their communication and maybe decipher, hey, Joe, you be in the middle because you're smaller than us, and we'll all work together to create this wave, and it'll blow the seals off the ice flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear that, okay, whale 1 was speaking to whale 2, and whale 2 took action or something.
Yeah, and then later on, whale 2 goes out and tells other whales, hey, this is how I got lunch. It's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I saw this video of whales that would they would form up to create like a wall, and they would swim towards an ice flow that's on the surface, and then they would dive underneath the ice flow with a wake behind them, would hit the ice flow, and then another wake, because it's creating waves. And so it's like blam, blam, and then the seal would get knocked off, and then they would have to chase the seal around until it either jumps back onto another ice flow or it becomes dinner. Nature doesn't care about how good a swimmer you are. You just have to be faster than the other seal.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to be faster than the whale, just faster than the other prey, right?
Yep. Okay, let's keep going though. This next article is over in TechnologyToday. Unlocking the secrets of immortality, tardigrade proteins slow aging in human cells. Okay, so some ultra-rich sociopath is going to get injected with tardigrade proteins and turn into a space bear.
Don't you think it's odd that tardigrade, of all things, are related to this? Because when you see a tardigrade, it looks wrinkled.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll take wrinkly if I slow the aging process. Researchers at the University of Wyoming. What the hell?
Interesting. Maybe this is why they can't get on board with EVs, because they've been spending their time researching tardigrades.
But this is like the biological enhancement. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, sorry for those who aren't in the know. I kind of have a complex about Wyoming because they actually refuse to upgrade their energy grid and support EVs and basically the expansion of technology in Wyoming because basically the oil and gas and coal industries are juggernauts there. Researchers at the University of Wyoming have advanced our understanding of how tardigrades survive extreme conditions and shown that proteins from the microscopic creatures. Let me get down to this section first. Microscopic creatures expressed in human cells can slow down molecular processes. Dude, this is spectacular. Okay, so it's over in SciTech Daily. University of Wyoming is where it's from. How do you feel about this? This is bad bat kind of stuff, or
I think it absolutely is. Because, okay, they're figuring this out, but how do they plan to apply this?
This is Dune Spice Navigator kind of stuff, right? It's going to transform people into woolly bears. Not woolly bears.
Woolly bear caterpillars or woolly bears?
For the tardigrade reminded me of the woolly bear caterpillar, and so I said woolly bear, but I meant tardigrade. Tardigrades are awesome, but they're microscopic, by the way. One of the things that I want to do is I want to convert my microscope into using LED so it doesn't generate heat. And then I want to spin back up my microscope TV channel and just have, the camera chase the tardigrade around so people can see it. But live, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Anyway, this makes the tardigrade proteins potential candidates in technology centered on slowing the aging process and in long-term storage of human cells. The study published in the journal Protein Science examines the mechanisms used by tardigrades to enter and exit from suspended animation when faced by environmental stress. Led by senior research scientist Sylvia Sanchez Martinez in the lab at UW Department of Molecular Biology, assistant professor Thomas Boothby, which, man, that sounds like either, like a supervillain or superhero scientist. The research provides additional evidence that tardigrade proteins eventually could be used to make life-saving treatments available to people who have a shit ton of money and can afford tardigrade proteins to be injected in them. That did not get said in the article.
No, I know. None of that was in the article.
But it could be life-saving treatments available to people where refrigeration is not possible and enhanced storage of cell-based therapies such as stem cells. Yeah. And that's why they're called water bears. They can survive in being completely dried out, frozen just above absolute zero. But we have no idea. There's no intelligence there. It's pure, whatever it's programmed to do, there isn't any intelligence there. It's got to be for nutrients. It's got to be chasing down chemicals and stuff. So when it gets fired back up, it makes you
wonder how applicable it is to advanced beings such as humans.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it can survive being completely dried out, but when it does come back to life, it's because it's not really life so much as it's just a cell being rehydrated. And I mean, it's amazing that it can handle this, being frozen to just above absolute zero, about minus 458 degrees Fahrenheit. When all molecular motion stops, heated to more than 300 degrees. I mean, irradiated. This thing, it can survive in vacuum in outer space too. I mean, the thing is just, we keep messing around with this and we're going to end up with a bad bat we can't eradicate.
Well, I think we've already ended up with a bad bat we can't eradicate, but your point's well taken.
So, in a nutshell, the proteins from the water bear, aka tardigrade, could slow the aging process in human cells and thus, perhaps, unlock the secrets of immortality. And hence, the end of this is the only people that will be able to pay for this are the filthy freaking rich.
Yeah, I hope they slow this down. It's good to do research, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I know a couple of... Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. But for those of you who are seeking fodder for your NaNoWriMo, there you go. A bunch of immortals that look like water bears, tardigrades, but in human form. The next article is over in Technology Today. Wearable AI will put our smartphones out of fashion? So I'm going to go straight on over to Gizmodo. Callum Baines over at theguardian.com put the article together. Imagine it, you're on a bus or walking in the park when you remember some important tasks slip your mind. You're meant to send an email, catch up on a meeting, or arrange to grab lunch with a friend. Without missing a beat, you simply say aloud that you've forgotten, and the small device that's pinned to your chest or resting on the bridge of your nose sends the message, summarizes the meeting, or pings your buddy a lunch invitation. The work has been taken care of, and you've without you ever having to prod the screen of your smartphone. So they end up talking about chat GPT and AI and whatnot, but it says one of the first out of the gate will be the AI pin from California startup Humane. Only a little bigger than a tin of Vaseline.
Okay.
What the hell? How does anybody know what the tin of Vaseline is?
No idea.
Is there some universal?
That's not approachable to the average person out there, I don't think.
Do you think NIST as like, what? Wait, what is the one that does measurements and stuff like that? Isn't it NIST?
Oh, yeah, I think it's NIST.
Yeah, so I bet you that so we know exactly what an inch is, or we know exactly what an ounce is. A tin of Vaseline is enumerated in the hallowed halls of some scientific lab, like a perfect sphere. This is the measurement.
I mean, they could have put it in school bus units, right?
Yeah, or Chinese surveillance.
Sure.
Air balloon. So it's a wearable device that attaches to your shirt via a magnet and can send text and whatnot. But this is the pin right here, the one from AI or from Humane. It's called the AI pin. Basically, the people that I've interacted with who have looked into this, they say it's not all what it's measured up to be. But there is one. Let's see here. Facebook parent Meta, meanwhile, has already put out a pair of AI-powered smart glasses in partnership with Ray-Ban, and Chinese company TCL and Oppo have followed suit with AI spectacles of their own. The article goes into a bunch of different things, but there's one that I want everybody to actually go and look at, and it's not mentioned here. Do you remember the name of it?
Of which thing?
The AI tool that I had mentioned in our other article.
Was it Sora?
No. I'll find it real quick. I think it's an AI tool that is called Open Initiative. I think it's called. Let me see. I'm sorry, folks. I'm doing this live. OpenInterpreter.com. OpenInterpreter.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So Open Interpreter basically does what they just described up here. Without missing a beat, you simply say aloud that you've forgotten something, and the device that's pinned to your chest or resting on the bridge of your nose sends the message, summarizes the meeting. In this case, it's a little puck about that big. You push the button, it activates it. You tell the AI that you wanted to do all of these things, and the AI on your desktop will do it, even though this device is in your hand and you're in the park. That device attaches to your phone, which attaches to your computer, and it does exactly what you tell it to do. You have to program it to some degree, but it's drop dead simple enumeration. Okay, do this, and it confirms. Okay, do this, and it confirms. Okay, do this, and it confirms. And then you go, okay, you've done all of these steps. Now save that as a command and call it, send lunch invitation to Tom. And sure enough, when you say send a lunch invitation to Tom, it can ask you, where do you want to go? And you can augment it with, I want to go to this restaurant or whatever. It's neat. So will AI put our smartphones out of fashion? Hopefully. I would love
to. It seems like it would, right? Because it's going to do all the things people use smartphones for.
Yeah. I mean, why would I want to have to break out a smartphone when I want augmented reality glasses that are AI powered? And I can say, hey, call up the AI, and it'll call up the AI. Pretty cool. I love the idea. So, I mean, Observer, Callum Baines, you're on the right track. But I think we're even closer than people think, particularly with solutions like Open Interpreter. You can set that up right now. The source code, all of it is actually open source. So if you want to buy it already constructed, it's $99. But you can build it yourself, including the listening device. They have instructions on how to build it. Okay, let's keep going though. The next article is over in Technology Today as well. We have
Do
this
you
article.
think we're going to have a day where we do not receive some new capability related to AI in the near future?
A day? I don't think a day will go by for a considerable
I don't
amount of
either.
time. Because people are pushing this hard, and it's evolving so much faster than society can deal with. There's so much that I could almost build an entire channel about nothing but AI and break it off from the rest of ohmTown. Create another channel, like change, one of the other lower interest channels that I've got.
Right.
Because I got a bunch. I mean, I've got 50 channels. Only 47 are active right now. I have 3 that are turned off. I could create an AI one. Nothing but AI. Anyway.
Yeah, but we have Reality Hacker.
Yeah, exactly. So this next article is over in Technology Today. It's already posted into the chat. $700 cybercrime software turns Raspberry Pi into an evasive fraud tool. And really what this is doing is it's creating a hardware-software-based proxy. Cyber criminals are selling custom Raspberry Pi software called GeoBox on Telegram, which allows inexperienced hackers to convert their mini computers, Raspberry Pis, into anonymous cyber attack tools. And really all it is kind of, it's a sophisticated tool because somebody else has designed it to be such, but it's just a proxy. And all of these solutions are already available. It's just that they've made it so drop dead simple that it's plug and play. The thing is, you still have to attach it to a network somewhere so that it can facilitate this communication. It has to have access to an access point or a network. It has to have a power supply for an extended period of time if you're going to be away from it and using your cell phone for communication. But if you're not familiar with the term, it acts as a proxy. So instead of directly attaching to a network or directly hacking something, you log into this and launch your payloads from this. It doesn't store any logs. It does exactly what you tell it to. And so when somebody does do the forensic analysis necessary to locate this device, all it finds is this lump of garbage that nobody is going to be able to trace back to the real hacker.
Right. And for a relatively low cost, and then the ability to strike at a very high level, right? A Fortune 100 company, that's pretty significant.
Yeah. So the article is over at bleepingcomputer.com. Bill Toulis is the author. They tend to go a little bit in depth. And so GeoBox is sold on Telegram. A company called Resecurity discovered the tool during an investigation into a high-profile banking theft impacting a Fortune 100 company. The discovery led to the acquisition of GeoBox for more in-depth analysis. The malicious individuals utilized several GeoBox devices, each connected to the internet and strategically placed in various remote locations. And the devices served as proxies, significantly enhancing their anonymity. They may or may not be able to trace these people back, depending on what telemetry, because there's always digital transfer. Like you put your USB key into somebody's computer and your USB key is tagged that it's been inserted into a computer named whatever it was you plugged that key into. You can wipe it all out, but most people don't even know, don't care. And so they dig really deep into it. They found out where it can actually be purchased. And And it basically augments a Raspberry Pi, the very thing that is powering the sentient AI above.
When I am with it. I mean, I'm a little glitchy this evening because I just realized I didn't have a connection.
No, you're fine. The device is extremely small and light, making it highly portable. You just plug it in somewhere. It can have a battery pack. Depending on how big the battery pack is, it can last for an extended period of time. The thing about this is, though, this could have been done in an even smaller package by avoiding all of the other stuff that's necessary for GeoBox to run. So you can make it actually really small. In fact, you can buy a device online right now that all you have to do is plug it into a computer and it can create a backdoor to somebody's network, referred to as dropping a shell.
You know, maybe there was a Raspberry Pi shortage for a while. I mean, maybe that's the thing that's going to prevent some of this.
Yeah, I doubt it. No. Because there's clones of Raspberry Pis, so, and it runs all the same OS and whatnot. Raspberry Pi couldn't keep up with demand during the pandemic, and people popped up out of nowhere to produce clones, really, of Raspberry Pis. Not exactly the same, but close enough that it takes minimal recoding to get something done. Examples include cyber attack coordination, darknet market operation or access, financial fraud, credential stuffing, malware distribution, disinformation campaigns. And it says, although GeoBox doesn't introduce any functionality that's not already available in standalone tools or specialized Linux distros like Kali Linux, its comprehensive and user-friendly suite makes it ideal for users looking to swiftly deploy a disposable hacking device because it's so inexpensive. So Kali Linux is kind of the go-to tool for cybersecurity professionals and abusers alike because it's such a powerful solution. So everybody out there, go learn Linux. That's what Kali Linux is.
Don't go do this hacking stuff unless you're doing it for learning purposes.
And for good. You are not allowed to access a computer or network without authorization. Anything other than with agency is a crime instantly. And in the United States, you have a very, very good chance of getting caught. So I would say avoid doing it. And if you're gonna do it in a home lab where the worst thing that you can do is knock yourself offline and you're not going to get arrested for breaking into a computer network and then doing something stupid on that network. Like, I don't know, drawing attention to yourself. Now I won't tell any stories. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile channel. This is the last one for tonight for Technology Today. Right after this show, we have Four-Wheel Tech. Okay. So a cosmic speed camera just revealed the staggering speed of neutron star jets in a world first. How fast can a neutron star... You doing okay over there?
Yeah, I mean, this is a world first. I think we've had at least two of those in today's show.
Yeah, you gotta say it like that. World first. So how fast can a neutron star drive powerful jets into space? The answer turns out is about 1/3 the speed of light, as their team has just revealed in a new study published in Nature. So the article is over at phys.org. It's written by James Miller Jones from The Conversation. This doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not in the domain, but energetic cosmic beams known as jets are seen throughout our universe. They are launched when material, mainly dust and gas, falls in towards any dense central object, such as a neutron star, an extremely dense remnant of a once massive star, or a black hole. The jets carry away some of the gravitational energy released by the infalling gas, recycling it back into the surroundings on far larger scales. The most powerful jets in the universe come from the biggest black holes, at the centers of galaxies, which, by the way, a picture of the black hole at the center of our galaxy was actually generated based on its radio emissions recently. I don't think we have an article with the picture like readily available, but maybe I will hunt it down and post it, or I should say include it in one of our shows just as an additional element. I don't know. It's that kind of stuff that I want to post over on Patreon and encourage people to support the channel. The jets carry away some of this gravitational energy released as infalling gas, or by infalling gas, but the jets are from stellar corpses. Jets from black holes tend to be bright and have been well studied. However, the jets from neutron stars are typically much fainter and much less is known about them. So Chandra captures a neutron star action. I'm going to hit play and mute it. So Chandra is an observatory in space that's looking at a neutron star, and you can actually see the jet coming out of it.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Pretty amazing. It just looks like a candle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it doesn't look like something natural.
No, not at all. I wonder what the takeaway from that is. It's creating its own solar wind kind of a thing, a neutron jet stream of sorts. And then as it loses energy, it just kind of dwindles off, just like cigarette smoke or candle smoke from a blown out candle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the same thermal type of process. That's wild. Okay. Cosmic cinders the size of a city, yet containing the mass of a star. We can think of them as enormous atomic nuclei, each about 20 kilometers across. That's insane. Look at that. Shoots off into space.
The fact that we can detect this is just really interesting.
Yep. When we measure speeds on Earth, we time the object between 2 points. That could be a 100-meter sprinter running down a track, or a point-to-point speed camera tracking a car. Our team, led by Thomas Russell at the Italian National Institute of Astrophysics in Palermo, conducted a new experiment to do this for neutron star jets. What made this this measurement so difficult in the past is that jets are steady flows. This means there is no single starting point for our timer, but we were able to identify a short-lived signal at X-ray wavelengths that we could use as our starting gun. So when enough material is built up, it triggers a thermonuclear explosion. A runaway nuclear fusion reaction occurs and rapidly spreads to engulf the entire star. The fusion lasts for a few seconds to minutes, causing a short-lived burst of X-rays, and that's when they start that trigger. And so they basically said that the escape speed is 11.2 kilometers per second. Or on Earth, the escape speed is 11.2 kilometers per second. What rockets need to achieve break free of Earth's gravity.
Oh, that's escape velocity. We talked about that in another article.
Yeah. And in that context back then, it was because there was somebody that was basically self-limiting the discovery of life on some other planet, because there's a really good chance that they won't be able to escape their own gravitational forces, to which I say,
right, because we know they couldn't be more advanced, right, than Earth.
Well, not only that, but the physics of it kind of belie the technology that would be developed within that space, you know?
Right.
Just
we don't
because
even know what the physics are there, right? And then we don't know what technology they have.
Yeah, I mean, they may be able to discover an accelerant that allows, or not an accelerant, right? A process that allows them to generate higher than 11.2 kilometers per second in thrust and escape the velocity, and form the escape velocity. It was this really convoluted kind of story about why we're not discovering life on other planets. And maybe it's because it's millions of light years away. and we suffer from hubris. Anyway, for a neutron star, the value is around half the speed of light for escape velocity. So, ta-da! That's what they measured. So their work has introduced a new technique for measuring neutron star jet speeds. Our next steps will be to see how the jet speed changes for neutron stars with different masses and rotation speeds. But at least they have a theoretical formula now. Pretty neat. But that's it, folks, for Technology Today. This show gets a little bit deeper into the tech aspect of science and technology in general. So we hop into the party bus and race down Main Street at half the speed of light, and we turn into a tardigrade.
And then we watch out for those jets.
That's right. And I don't root for the jets. So I'm Mayor Watt, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI about to say bye from on high.
Good night, hometown citizens. But wait, there's more. Come back shortly.
Oh yeah, 4-Wheel Tech is right around the corner. See you in about 11 minutes. We're going to try and get this operational by 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, which doesn't mean anything to anybody who's listening to this via the podcast or watching it over on YouTube, because the show will already be over. Dun dun dun. See you in a bit. Oh look, it still doesn't do the outro when I transition. See ya. Boop.